Hi guys, it's Dee, and today we will go through Deathstroke lore while I do my makeup. I will go through the rebirth era, by the way. This entire run had me gag. No kidding. I had to stand up multiple times while reading and just take a lap around the room. It was that insane. So I have my notes and I got my makeup. So let's go. So Deathstroke is one of the main villains for Teen Titans, which is, by the way, very sad. Imagine being a mercenary and your biggest ops are teenagers. Like, that's just hilarious. A bit on his backstory. He joined the military when he was 17 and there he met his wife. They got 2 beautiful baby boys. He's like a foil for Batman, so he has a very similar set of characters in his life. Like, he has a butler, a dad's son, and just insane lore that no one really knows. And in between that, they Steve Rogered him. They basically gave him a serum. They gave him like super fast reflexes and a bigger IQ, like it widened his space. I don't know, comic lore, you know. That. So he decides it's fun to kill people for a living, and now that's his job. He's a mercenary. Cool, whatever. So, and during one of his missions, he decides to have a bit fun, bring a little baby girl to life in a house. Time skip a few years later, there's some trouble. He goes there, and in the meantime, his son gets kidnapped, okay? He rushes back home, but sadly, his son has already been basically, he lost his voice. He don't speak no more. And his wife is, of course, mad about it, that he was overseas saving his daughter instead of being there for his son, who was being kidnapped, which I understand. So she did what every sensible woman would do. She shot him through the head. But also during the entire run, the freaking funniest thing is, and you can say whatever you want about him, he's a murderer, he's a killer, he has some questionable relations with underage girls, but he is not racist, okay? He draws the line at racism. Every time the wife says, "Oh, you and that Chinese," he's like, "No, she's mom." Okay, that's where we draw the line. I guess you gotta have some principles somewhere. Oh, sorry. The wife is called Adeline and his sons are called Joey and Grant. And the butler is called Wintergreen. Very original. And he's also British. And was in the special forces, so yeah. So one day, the son Grant is so done with this entire family because their parents are fighting, then they're having sex, again fighting, and they already and again have sex, so whatever. And he's like, I'm out of here. Very relatable. Very relatable. So the comic doesn't have a cohesive storyline, it just kind of jumps around with the time, and so will these facts. So digress with me. And Grant dies one day. He dies because of the Teen Titans, according to Slade. Slade is Deathstroke, by the way. Maybe you know that if you clicked on this video. So and he has, so we'll only mention the insane things. Like, there's a lot of insane things happening here, but I'm gonna just put in the top-notch insane facts that made me lose my freaking mind. How insane do you have to be to put out a hit on your own daughter? Just to spend time with her? I feel like there are some better ways to communicate you want to spend time with your daughter, but maybe I'm not the one to talk. I don't even have a dad, so. Fatherless behavior, I guess. Like, in his family, no one really knows how to communicate their feelings or anything, really. All they do is stand over your bed while you're sleeping. So Deathstroke and daughter Rose is now also an anti-hero, whatever you want to call that, as the Revenger. And she kind of tries to justify what she's doing and who she's doing and whatever. And he's like, yo, I don't give a f what you do. As long as you have principles, like, at least you believe in something. I feel like, wow, that's coming from the wrong person. I don't think you should be saying that. So these two go on a happy family trip to find out who put out the hit on her, which, as I told you already, was her own father. But it gets even more insane because it was actually Adeline who... now it gets confusing. So Rose is together with this one boy, and later it turns out this boy was like from a special agency and hired to watch over her. At this point I just lost my mind because what the fuck is even going on? I want whatever these writers were having because it seems like some good kush. So they go out on this trip, and why the f? So they're in this motel. Rose goes to shower, and when she comes out, her dad is butt naked in front of her, standing in front of a window with his schlong out. That picture has been imprinted in my brain. I will never get it out of there. Why? Why would you do that? So yada, stuff happens, and we meet Joey again. Despite not being able to talk, he's made a name out for himself. He is like the CEO of his mother's company, and their interpreter works for him. Problem is, they are together, they are in a relationship, these two, and he proposes to her, which is nice, I guess, in theory. Problem is, he was actually in a relationship beforehand with the man who made the icon suit for his father. So the man, not entirely straight, and obviously he goes to tell him, yo, I'm marrying this girl. And he's like, nah, you don't. But for the biggest plot twist, which had me shook to my bones, I was gripping at the edge of my seat because I was just so distraught. Like, in what universe, in no way, shape or form is this okay or even acceptable? It's just so mind-blowing. Why would you do that? Why? I can't even say it without losing my mind. His fiance is not only a spy for Amanda Waller, she's also sleeping with her fiance's father. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Deathstroke is sleeping with his son's fiance. A+ parenting. Amazing. Doesn't end there. So the fiance gets murdered the day of the wedding. Shocking, I know. Oh, and in the meantime, Rose goes to like visit her mother's family, and it turns out that the family she met there were actually just hired by her father so that she learns of her heritage. How insane do you have to be? Well, she comes back for the wedding, things don't go well, the fiance gets murdered, nobody knows who it was. And of course, Joey is not happy about that. But he still joins his father's task force, which wear these ugly ass white suits. There he gets entangled with another 16-year-old who helped him get better again. And that 16-year-old was also part of the Teen Titans as another member, Kid Flash, who also joins them. Her name is Stargirl. She's the smartest person around, but apparently she's not smart enough to realize in what a situation she got herself in. That team up doesn't last long. And there's another lengthy storyline about the heritage of Damian Wayne, the 5th Robin. So as we all know, Damian is the only biological son of Bruce Wayne, Batman, by the way. I think you know that by now. But somebody forged some papers, and there's this entire storyline about who is the real biological father of Damian Wayne. Is it Slade Wilson or Bruce Wayne? Because I don't know how this man has so much game. But Slade has also been in a sexual entanglement with Talia al Ghul. Yes, I know. Why? How? We don't know. Matter of fact, you know what? I don't even want to know. So we all know in Teen Titans, the Lazarus Contract, he makes some questionable choices with a teenager. And this teenager returns, of course, Tara? Yes, Tara. So she's kind of an agent for Deathstroke in that storyline, and she returns in this new rebirth comic, and is also part of the task force. And there's this entire storyline about her loving him, and he's like, yo, I just played you, why the fuck are you acting like this? Which is understandable. You are 17 years old. In which universe would an adult man want to have a relationship with you? Like, babes, you are being groomed. You are a victim. Victim! Good tip for in real life: if you are underage and someone much older than you shows romantic interests in you, babe, run, drop everything and run. Tell the police, go to your parents. Don't get entangled with that person. Like, this person doesn't want anything good for you. Thing is, with these comics, he makes all these bad choices, and we're still supposed to understand his actions, which I definitely don't. I know he's an anti-hero. No, he's not an anti-hero. He's a villain. That's a whole ass villain. But you know, I'd rather be angry while reading something than not feel anything at all, so at least it's entertaining. Like, it's not real at the end of the day, it's just fiction. It's just so bad saying everything in this comic. Like, I don't even know who allowed this to get printed, but it did, and now we have it, and it's entertaining for sure. But some storylines are definitely jumbled and jump around too much for my taste. And since you are supposed to root for this character, well, not exactly root, you are just supposed to like go along his journey. Like, the writers definitely write him as a bad person. This is not a person to be idolized or even understand. But still, so it lacks something to make this character more compelling. I guess I was really curious why people like him as a character and villain. So one Reddit search later, I ended with this comic in my lap. Would I recommend the story? If you want to lose your mind, yes. If you want a compelling storyline, characters, and just overall fun, no, read something else. Anybody else have good comic recommendations for Deathstroke? Like, it's an interesting character just based on his backstory. It's a bit a mix of Captain America, a Batman, and just a sprinkle of villainy. A sprinkle. The entire bottle at this point. But yeah, I think maybe it's a me problem that I don't really understand his character or his motivation. He is about the emotional maturity of Bruce Wayne, which is bad. And I just feel like, I don't know, his choices, his character choices do not amount to anything in the end. You don't know at the end of this run who Deathstroke is. And a solo run is exactly what a character should like represent or be. They start as something and end up as something entirely else, but he just stays the same. There's no character progression for any of the characters, to be honest. There's so much plot happening, but not much character growth. Maybe that was the point of the writers, I don't know. And I also think that sometimes you can just let a character be. Like, not every character needs a backstory, a super in-depth backstory and adventures of their own. Sometimes you can just be a supporting character or a villain without having a bigger story arc growing around you. Like the entire run just felt like a bit too much, just for dramatic effect. But maybe it's me that picked up the wrong comic. And also, you don't have to like everything. This just wasn't for me, and that's okay. Though these pictures will haunt my mind forevermore. Not to forget my hoops. I kind of feel naked without them. My grandma gifted me these last Christmas and I wore them almost every day since then. I always wanted a nice pair of hoops, like they're just so light. They fit with everything. Anyway, this was just part of the entire insane lore. Like there's just so much more to go off about this. And I gotta be honest, I kinda had to stop reading at the end because I just couldn't take it anymore. It just felt so weird and I didn't want to read it. Cute! Yes, that looks nice. So I hope you enjoyed watching me do makeup while yapping about a comic, and I'll see you in the next one back then.